Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today, AIRT Incorporated just filed a Form 8K reporting their financial results, and I'm seeing a couple of key updates that matter. Quick note, this is not financial advice, just my take on public filings for educational purposes. The company is sharing information about their recent financial performance and an updated investor presentation. So let's dive into what they are telling us. This is a report from AIRT Incorporated, a company you might know by its ticker symbols AIRT and AIRTP. They are involved in the industrials and conglomerate sector, and recent news suggests they are focusing on how their stock movements can inform risk models, and also breaking down their revenue from preferred securities. Their stock has been trading in a range of about $18 to $21 over the past year, with a price to earnings ratio around 55.6. They have a significant number of employees, over 1,600. The main point of this filing is to report on events that happened around the 14th of August 2026. Companies like AIRT Incorporated have to tell the public about certain important things that happen, and this form, called an 8K, is how they do it. One of the key pieces of information here is about their financial results for the quarter that ended on the 30th of June 2026. They released a press release to talk about these numbers, and we are getting a look at that right here. It is important to remember that information like this is usually considered furnished, meaning it is provided to the public but does not carry the same legal weight as if it were officially filed, and could lead to lawsuits if found to be inaccurate under certain sections of securities law. Think of it as a heads up rather than a sworn statement in court. So, on the 14th of August 2026, AIRT Incorporated put out a press release. This release detailed how they did financially for the 3 months ending the 30th of June of that year. This is often where companies try to put their best foot forward, so we always want to look closely at the actual numbers presented and not just the spin. Another important part of this filing is under Regulation FD, which stands for Fair Disclosure. This means they are making information available to everyone at the same time, preventing any one group from getting an unfair advantage. In this case, they are providing an updated investor presentation. This presentation is likely aimed at potential investors. It is a way for the company to communicate its story, its strategy, and its financial outlook. Think of it as a sales pitch, but for the stock market. They are showing a PowerPoint presentation that they plan to use for these meetings, and it is being included as part of this filing. This is also considered furnished information, so the same legal caveats apply as with the financial results press release. Then we have a section for other events. This is where companies can report anything else significant that doesn't fit neatly into the other categories. AIRT Incorporated is pointing people towards their website and a platform called slido.com for questions. They are saying that questions submitted there will be answered during their annual meeting and also in writing on a quarterly basis. They mention that legal and practical reasons might prevent them from answering every single question, but they aim to address all reasonable and relevant ones in writing. This shows a commitment to transparency and engagement with their investors. Finally, this section lists all the extra documents attached to this report. We see the press release from the 14th of August 2026 as Exhibit 99.1. Then we have the investor presentation as Exhibit 99.2. These are the core documents that give us the details of what AIRT Incorporated is sharing today. Now, let's look at the context. AIRT Incorporated is a company with a P/E ratio of around 55.6. This is quite high and suggests that investors are expecting significant future growth or that the stock might be overvalued. Their stock has been trading within a fairly narrow range. Recent headlines show a focus on how their stock movements relate to risk, and a breakdown of their preferred securities revenue. This indicates that investors are closely watching their financial instruments, especially those that pay dividends. While this filing doesn't contain the actual financial tables, the accompanying press release and investor presentation, which are furnished as exhibits, would contain those crucial numbers. Based on the information here, AIRT Incorporated is providing an update on its financial condition and investor relations. The mention of preferred securities is noteworthy. Companies issue preferred stock, which is different from common stock, often to raise capital without diluting ownership for common shareholders. The Alpha Income Preferred Securities, or AIP, trading under the ticker AIRTP, suggests a focus on income-generating instruments. Understanding the revenue breakdown from these securities would be critical for a full picture of the company's financial health. What is really interesting here is the combination of a high P/E ratio and the focus on preferred securities. This could mean they are a growth company with a strategy to manage debt and capital through these preferred instruments. Or it could be a sign that the common stock is expensive and they are using other means to fund operations. The invitation for questions via Slido is a good sign for engagement, but we need to see the actual financial details in the exhibits to form a solid opinion. My biggest concern is the lack of concrete financial figures directly in this 8K filing, which is common for this type of report focusing on press releases and presentations. However, this makes it harder to immediately assess their operational performance. I am actually looking for the revenue and profit figures from the press release and presentation to see if the high PYD is justified by actual growth or if it represents an expectation that might be difficult to meet. Oh, and the research tools I actually use are linked in the description. They help keep this channel going. That is my take. Stay decoded. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives. Check out the Discord in the description.